Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mack, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 168 of Empty Betters. I am your host, Harrison Scholes. I am going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What is going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot, boys. Excited to be here to recap what feels like a crazy couple days of hockey. And it's always fun when we get a nooner episode in here. So I like
Yeah.
that. Change it up from like the 7 p.m. recordings, which is nice.
Yeah, for once, the good morning, everybody, is actually applicable. Recording this around noon on Saturday, April 29th. Gave a couple extra days in between recordings just because we wanted to get as much beef in here as we could. We've got a ton of games to talk about. Some series have already wrapped up. So buckle up. It's going to be probably a long episode of round one finales. And now I'm going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host up in Wisco, Mac Vogel. What's going on?
What's up, y'all? Just to kind of add to what these fellows have said so far, I'm pretty happy we waited to record. I feel like now we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And especially, Leafs panic meter. I'm excited to get into that. I'm excited to talk about some game sevens that we may have on the horizon. So there's a lot of good stuff here. And yeah, who doesn't love a little Saturday pod session, eh?
Right. The potential, boys,
Perfect.
like I know I said this in the group chat, but the potential for 3 game sevens on a Monday night just tickles me in all the right places, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that would be the best because like I can actually watch on a Monday night too, and like get home from work, have something to look forward to on the shittiest day of the week at work.
Exactly.
We've got 2 guaranteed for Sunday night, which is going to be a doozy. Mac mentioned the Leafs panic meter. I'm more interested in the Bruins panic meter at the moment. We'll get to that in a second.
Hey, there we go.
But before we get rolling, let's start off with question of the day, which is presented by Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It is Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh. Brackish Life. I would recommend the sweat resistance UV shirts. If your team is in the playoffs playing in a game 7, it will definitely help keep your pits dry while your goaltender throws some pizzas to Matthew Tkachuk up the middle.
There you go.
All right.
They are great
Mac.
shirts for like playing hockey and like under your gear. It's fantastic.
Mac,
All right.
I'll toss it off to you for the question of the day.
Thank you, my friend. So here we go. Where do you guys think, what location do you guys think would be the toughest place to play the ground is lava?
Ooh.
And like I'm talking like an intense game. Like let's just imagine a world for a second where like somebody said, like, hey, the ground is lava, buddy. And if you touch the ground, like I'm gonna kill you. Like it's high stakes. Like you cannot touch the ground.
So this is
But,
like some like Squid Games, Hunger Games shit where like
sure.
okay.
But like I'm picturing like maybe they say you gotta go like 48 hours, right? Without doing it. But like and they're like monitoring you somehow. That's kind of what I'm picturing in the scenario. But you have to just go about your normal life. Like where would be the location that's the most difficult? Because I'm picturing like you get into the office and you're like you've got like your feet up on your rolly chair and you're like typing away and your boss is like, what are you doing? And you're like, my knees are kind of bugging me today. And like you're trying to like play it off cool, but like what location would be the hardest where people are like, all right, what are you doing, buddy?
Office would be brutal. Like that would be really, really bad.
Yeah, that would be pretty rough. Not real life related. The first one that came to mind, you guys ever been in one of those like not it's not an escape room, but like mirror rooms where like the mirrors are just everywhere?
Oh yeah.
You imagine trying to like just looking at yourself in 30,000 different directions, just not touching the floor. That one would suck.
No, that would be a bad one. What else other than Office? Like
Well, like think about if you had to go to the grocery store that day or something like that.
That would be bad
You're
too.
riding the cart. You're trying to get stuff off the
Yeah.
shelf. Your feet are up on the cart, and you're like tipping over.
Or you're
and-
like, you've got like 1 foot on the cart and you're just like kicking everything off like the bottom shelf and like scooting your way like through the aisle like that.
yeah, there you go.
Hear me out on this one. A bar.
Yo, wait a minute.
Bar would
No,
be
you-
interesting.
Well, because like, yeah, you can drink and like you might think that helps, but think of when you have to go to the bathroom.
Well, there's
How-
also no
That's probably
wheels
good.
in
You
the
probably
bar.
don't
Like,
want to
you-
be touching that
the-
floor.
I'm actually thinking back to the office. That might be the easiest place because most offices you're probably dealing with a wheelie chair situation. You could probably just wheel around all day. People are going to think you're insane, but you
Or
could
just
do it.
lazy.
You need
Right.
crutches. You'd have to fake an injury for a
Okay,
bar.
that's
Yeah.
not a bad. But you can't even have one. You know how stupid you look on crutches and neither of your feet are touching the ground. Like you can't even put 1 foot on the ground. So people are like, I don't think. Which foot did you break, dude?
And, and also, if you're
Both.
sitting at a bar stool, like bar stools aren't the most comfortable thing. Some of them don't even have back support. I
Bar,
feel
like,
sitting,
You're stuck
Once you're
in
in
that
the bar, it's
stool.
okay.
No, you're stuck in
Yes.
that bar stool because it's like if you climb on anything else, you get kicked out. If you're on a table, if you're on like a
Yeah.
high top table, they're gonna toss you
I
immediately.
mean,
unless
okay,
it's
you know
B
how the
lounge,
bar
rest in
though,
peace.
you know how
but-
the bar has like the foot. A lot of them have the foot bar all the way at the bottom. Like you could kind of like walk the line along the foot bar and then maybe like jump out of the bar onto like. I
what's
don't know
your what would you say your final answer is? I feel like you definitely thought about this before.
grocery store might be the toughest. Although I didn't really think about bar. Like, let's say you get this task on like a Thursday through Saturday, and you have to go about like your normal routine. You're not allowed to like switch it up. I mean, I would definitely probably be at a bar at either Thursday or Friday, and that would be very difficult.
I'm gonna go with any event that my extended family is at.
Oh,
Just
Yeah,
because they would
that's-
either like push me onto the floor or we would have to talk about it all day and I would have to answer
Yeah.
30,000 questions about why the floor is lava.
I feel like bar is my answer.
you're like, I don't know. They just told me
It's
it is.
just the way it is, Grandma.
They're
Come
gonna
on.
kill me, Grandma.
no.
Right. Yeah.
Shout out Nikki Cass.
Shout out Mimi and Pop.
I'm gonna go bar. I just don't feel I'm a stander and I like to move around a lot. I don't sit still very well. And on a bar stool, and then you have to fake an injury with crutches. Yeah, I'm out. That's
Well, like I feel like we have to pick the bar if that makes sense. So let's say Elwood's.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
feel like
not
you
a
could.
lot of. There's not a lot to work with.
It also, like, if
same
I'm-
with don't know.
It's like if we were at Elwood's on a Tuesday, I could get away with it because I could just hop like a
Yeah.
frog from table to table. But
Yeah.
I don't think that
But
would
like
last
on a
very long.
crowded night, people are gonna be like, "What is wrong with this guy?" And you're getting kicked out.
I'm going bar.
Could be like every Towson freshman girl and just stomp over my feet to get to the bar.
There you
Mac, final answer.
go. I don't want to copy you, but I'm actually having a hard time thinking of something worse. The grocery store is tough, but you do have the wheels at least with your shopping cart, and like they even have those little like grandma scooters there that you could use. So that's
True.
actually pretty avoidable. Yeah, I'd probably say bar too. I didn't even think of that.
Wow. Big Brain Harry finally coming through on a QOTD. Let's see if I can win fucking trivia today. People are starting to give me
Yeah.
shit.
There we
Are
go.
they really?
Yeah, dude. My dad's like, hey, you gotta win one of these. And like one of my buddies, Mike, he was listening. He's like, why does Nick get it every time? I was like, all right, shut up. Like
Because I can remember that stuff, but not what I stood up to do like 5 minutes ago.
I like that I'm the one that reads it because I would get none of them.
all right. We are gonna move on to the playoff update. That was a brain blast of a question of the day, but we're gonna move on to the Eastern Conference. We will start off with the Boston Bruins versus the Florida Panthers. Last time we spoke, we were 4 games in. Now we have had 2 games happen. Game 5, Florida wins 4-3 in overtime. I'm sure you all saw the highlights. Matthew Tkachuk ends it in overtime after an absolute pizza by Linus Ullmark. That one definitely ripped the hearts out of the Boston Bruins. I do want to give a shout out in that game to Taylor Hall. He continued to stay red hot and tied the game 3-3 halfway through the third. And one guy who has not gotten any praise yet, and he's been underrated in this series, in my opinion, Carter Verhaeghe with 3 assists in that game. He's been lights out for the Cats. And then the big game last night, game 6,
Nuts.
probably what we would consider the game of the playoffs, a 7-5 win for the Florida Panthers. Don't fact check me on this. I think there were 4 or 5 lead changes throughout this game. Jake DeBrusk scored a shorthanded goal with like 10 minutes left in the third to put the Bees up 5-4 and literally made Jack Edwards have to change his pants. And then they went on to lose that game 7-5.
It was like
love to
30
see it.
seconds later,
Love to see it.
Luis Sterainen, I think, got it right
Yep.
back, or someone did on the power
Yep.
play. They got it right back.
Yep. Dope. It might have been Dope.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
It was his first career playoff goal.
No quit in this Panthers team, guys. Like, you gotta hand it to them a little
like,
bit.
I mean, shout
And
out
I
to
love
them.
to make
I'm like,
fun of this hockey team.
yeah,
but
we hate them, but like, I'm kind of buying in. Like, even if they don't
Yeah.
win game 7, you took the best hockey team we've seen in 20 or 30 years, the distance. So
yeah, they did their job already. Like, I mean, they took a chunk out of them. Even if Boston moves on, this is definitely something that, I mean, what's that stat that I don't have it in front of me, but there's some stat where it's like teams that go 7 games in round 1, like have almost never won the cup. Like, it just doesn't.
Wow.
If you go 7 in the first round, like, it rarely happens that you're the champ at the end of the day.
Here's something else that rarely happens. The Panthers allowed a shorthanded goal and 3 power play goals in game 6. Teams in the playoffs all time that have allowed 3 power play goals and a shorthanded goal in the same game were 1 in 58 until last night. The Panthers made it 2 in 58.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think the cool thing
unreal
about
stat.
that game is they proved that they can boat race the Boston Bruins. Like, they can go shot for shot with them. They just hung in there, threw punches back and forth, lead changes all night, and they did it. And they didn't need a like stellar goaltending performance to do that.
So here's my concern. This is a big. I heard one of the broadcasters say it. Cats have 9 lives. That is kind of the vibe of this series so far. They won't go away. And that barn didn't even know what to do with itself after that game 6. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, but the fans, like, it literally was like shaking. Like, the whole place
They were
was
standing
like
the whole time. It was awesome.
It was like SpongeBob's Pineapple House when it zooms out and it's like the like, it's just jumping. But my concern here is that, like, can Florida win like this? Kind of going off what Nick was just talking about. Yeah, maybe they find a way to steal game 7 and it's a crazy story and then move on. But how sustainable is this kind of hockey throughout the rest of the playoffs? Like, you can't boat race your way to the Stanley Cup. I don't think so.
You might be able to pull this game 7 out, but whoever you get next is probably going to light you up.
Yeah, if you don't have, I mean, sure, the goaltending thing right now, it's like, okay, they can put Bob or Lyon in there and he can give up 5 or 6 goals and they might still win because they can score a bunch. But, like, I just don't know how sustainable that is for the rest of the way. And
I've seen that strategy play out with the hockey team that I love, and I can tell you how that went.
Right. And but the problem with that team is they also can't score them. So
correct.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers and the Oilers, I'd say those 2 teams, you could probably throw the Sabres in there all year long. It's just run and gun hockey. You got to see who can keep up with them. Game 7s, I don't have the stat in front of me, but the unders hit like it's 78% of the time.
Low scoring. 2-1, 3-1.
Yeah, so I feel like if the Panthers are getting that kind of game with the Bruins, that definitely favors the Bruins. The big question now is Swayman or Allmark. That's what we're seeing online for game 7.
I don't think you make a change. I think making a change would be like a Minnesota-esque catastrophic mistake.
Yeah, I think you got to go Allmark.
Allmark has looked shaky in the last 2 games. He has an .825 save percentage in games 5 and 6 combined. Before that, I don't have the exact number, but obviously he was doing much better than that. So we're going to have all of our game 7 and 6 predictions at the end of this episode. So we're not going to give any picks out yet. But game 7, Sunday night, TD Garden. The greatest hockey team in regular season history has been put on the brink by Matthew Tkachuk in the Florida Panthers. And got to give a shout out to Tkachuk. He's got 5 goals, 10 points in 6 games played in this series. He has multi-point games in 3 straight. He's riding a 3-game goal scoring streak. And he said after game 5, I don't know if you guys saw the mic'd up locker room after, he goes, we're coming back here for Game 7, and sure as shit, here they are.
I love what Paul Maurice said about him too. Like he was almost like tearing up talking about how like important he is to the team and stuff. Also something to think about. All of a sudden, boys, we could get a Florida round 2 matchup. I know
Right.
we've had that in round 1 before, and it's been pretty fun. But imagine with some higher stakes, we get a Cats versus Bolts. I mean, there's a world where that happens for sure in the second round. That would be nuts.
And a year where Tampa, at this point, you have to say is vulnerable at least.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, that's going to move very nicely into our next series, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leafs currently hold a 3-2 series lead. Since we last spoke, we had Game 5 happen, which we all saw was in Toronto. The building literally looked like it was about to explode of excitement pregame. That Canadian national anthem, I don't think has ever been sung louder than it was in that arena. And the Lightning pull out a 4-2 road win, a gutsy effort. Vasilevsky looked incredible. He looked horrible this series until Game 5, and he looked unbeatable at points. He really held the Bolts in that game. And Samsonov looked a little shaky, I would say. He dropped his stick a couple times. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Dude, I'm so like I saved
Oh,
the
I
video. I
saw it.
recorded it like from TV. I'm so putting it over this because he literally like goes out of his net to get the puck, falls forward, and drops his stick at the same time. It's priceless.
It's literally like you can hear in his head just he's going, I'm just no.
Yeah, that game was nuts. I totally agree with you with that. You know, it was rocking in pregame, but like 10 minutes into the first, it was very nervous in that building. You could tell the fans were a little bit apprehensive based on what they were seeing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, Tampa in elimination games, Vasilevsky especially, they're tried and true. They know how to do this. He's got a 5-1 career record in elimination games with a 1.6 GAA and a 944 save percentage.
Who's the
So it's
one?
hard to knock it out.
Anyone know?
Is it you guys? No, Penguins.
No, he has to be more than one in elimination games because they lost. They got swept by the Jackets and the Caps knocked them out of the conference final, right?
This might be since
This must be since a certain
2019.
point.
Okay.
Yeah. It's probably
Harry,
since
what's
2019.
you want to read off the stat that made us go viral? I feel like we should tell the people that.
Oh, yeah. So I want to give a shout out to my buddy Andrew Bull. He played roller hockey with me in 2021 when the Empty Betters actually had a roller hockey team. He sent this to me. He's a big Reddit guy. He found this on Reddit, and we tweeted it out, and it went like, I would say, semi-viral. 1929 Hockey Instagram page actually reposted it, which
Great
they're a
follow.
huge.
Great follow.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
130,000 followers if you guys don't follow them. This comes to us from Reddit. If you bet $100 against the Maple Leafs on every potential series clinching game since 2013, and you rebet all the profits, you would be up $345,000 right now. That is stupid.
That's really funny, honestly.
Or in the words of Mac, that's silly.
It is
Yeah.
silly.
Kind of makes me a little bit angry
345.
too.
Goofy even.
Yeah, man,
Wacky,
that's crazy.
zany. Who knows?
So we sucked off Tampa. We know they're hard to eliminate. We've got Game 6 tonight, about 8 hours from now until puck drop. -110 for each team. It's a pick 'em, over under sit at 6.5. Not going to put you guys on the spot yet, but you know, what are your thoughts going into Game 6?
My panic meter, if I'm a Leafs fan, is 7.5 right now. If they lose tonight, it goes to like 12.
Literally, I couldn't agree more. I think this is the game that's way, I mean, this isn't a hot take at all, but I think this is the way easier game to win for Toronto. It's there's less pressure on the road, right? Like that's just kind of how it goes, especially with this team. It seems like, I think if they don't find a way to get it done in Tampa tonight, your panic meter should be very high.
Yeah.
A home game 7 against Tampa. We've seen this episode before.
Yep.
Very recently. It was on last
Yeah,
season, I
we've
think.
seen it like a few times recently.
It
Uh,
just like even throughout the game tonight, it's going to go from 7.5, and each period they don't score a goal. It's going to go up by like a couple points.
yep. Yep. Yeah. All eyes on Samsonov for me tonight. He's the guy who's going to have to pull one out of his hat for Toronto to win. That Nick Paul goal that he let up in game 5 was soft and a dagger for the Leafs. And then how about Anthony Chiarelli? Nick, you said it in the group chat. This dude only scores big dick energy goals. Like
Overtime winners, like
yeah,
Memorial Cup winning overtime goals. Like this dude's just a machine.
he is definitely one of the most clutch players in the league. So, like I mentioned earlier, all of our picks will be at the end of the episode for these games. So we'll talk about this one again in a little bit.
For the Leafs, real quick before we move on,
yeah.
what would you guys do about the Bunting situation? Would you put him in the lineup, or would you leave someone like Matthew Nyes in the lineup?
I don't think you yank Knives, but I do think you put him in the lineup. Yank Aston Reese.
Yeah.
I'd be hip to that. That
Yeah.
seems like a good idea.
I don't think
Yeah.
you can take Nyes out of that lineup. I think
No.
he's
No,
done
he's-
everything but score at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely been playing as good as he can. I think he's earned his spot for sure.
Yeah, I'd yank Czar over there. But all right, we're gonna move on to the next series. This one is actually concluded. The Carolina Hurricanes defeated the New York Islanders in 6 games officially. Series just closed out last night. Since we last spoke, we had game 5 happen. The Islanders pulled out a 3-2 win in Carolina. Enval, Nelson, and Barzell scored for the Isles, while Stastny and Aho for the Canes. Seeing a trend there. The Canes outshot the Isles badly, but Sorokin held the Isles in that one. He easily played his best game of the series. And then the series moves back to Long Island for game 6, where Clutterbuck opened the scoring for the Isles to get them out to a 1-0 lead. And they basically held that lead until about 9 minutes left in the
release
third.
too on that one. That one was pretty.
Yeah, it was a nip. And then in the third period, the Isles finally surrendered, and Aho scored a goal with 9 minutes left in the third to tie. And then a weird blooper goal in overtime by Paul Stastny to end the series. Canes win 2-1. Freddie Anderson got the start for the Canes. He played unbelievable. Boys, thoughts? I know I know we were definitely rooting for different teams in this one.
Yeah, I've seen that movie before. It looks insanely familiar. A shot from basically, the right half wall on the goal line, basically, and then it somehow finds its way in. It's the way the Hurricanes win series, but they were the better team in the series. And I had high hopes for the Islanders. I definitely picked this one wrong. I picked the Isles in 7, but what are you going to do?
Same. So here's the thing. I feel like all season long, and actually, I remember watching the stadium game in Carolina and thinking, wow, this team is legit about the Hurricanes, like thinking, oh, holy shit, this team could go all the way. And granted, they're playing the Caps, so it's like, okay, yeah, you look really good right now. But in general, I just think all year long, I had a gut feeling like that team could go all the way. And I think I just I overestimated how much it would hurt them losing a guy like Svechnikov. They've looked fine without him. And granted, maybe it's just because the Islanders weren't the toughest opponent for them. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out in the rest of the series, or rest of the playoffs rather. But I do think it's good that they got Freddie in there, right? At least get him involved a little bit before.
I was surprised they did it.
I thought it was a very risky call.
Things were kind of going okay for them. I mean, they had that series by the balls. I know it.
When I heard that he was going in, I was like, I texted you guys. I was like, Isles in 7, because I thought that was a dumb decision. But hey, Rod Brindamore knows what he's doing. It ended up being a smart decision, because it is good to get him in there before the second round.
Definitely.
I think I read on Sportsnet stats that Freddie in elimination games is like 1-8 all time or something like that. So it was definitely a monkey off his back to get that win. Yeah, I mean, listen, if the Hurricanes weren't dinged up, they would be my Stanley Cup pick. I picked the Rangers, which is we'll talk about in a second, but I would pick the Hurricanes if Svechnikov didn't get hurt and Teravainen broke his wrist. I mean, that's 2 of their top 6 forwards.
Did you guys see how he broke his wrist too? That did not look
slash
pleasant. And like, it's as he's shooting too, of course. It's just like you can almost hear it and feel it snap. It just, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, so I like I think the Hurricanes are a really good team, but I don't think they're going to get past round 2. I don't think the offense is there for them, and it's not really their fault. They're missing 2 of their top 6 guys. So, nonetheless, a good series win for them.
To be honest, I don't think the goaltending is there to carry them the distance. I just, out of what I've seen of Ranta and Anderson, I don't necessarily feel good about that going up against potentially someone like Shesterkin.
Or Schmid.
Right. Yeah.
Who's playing out of his fucking mind right now. You guys want me to do that series?
Sure.
All right, we got Devils Rangers. Man, this one has taken an absolute twist. I think all of us after 2 games were like, "Yep, Rangers in 5." Like, it's all good. And game 3 at MSG, the Devils pull out a win, and then in game 4, the Devils again pull out another win, 3-1 win. Hughes has looked unreal. He woke up. The 1-year-old kid is just swinging his dick all over.
Is he
Madison Square
21
Garden.
yet?
I don't even know. He's playing unbelievable though.
Those Akira Schmid numbers are just absurd, by the way. Like,
yeah, I'll read those
they're
off.
Fantastic.
I'll read those off now. But the Devils take games 3 and 4 in MSG, and then game 5 they just dominated. They won 4-0 on home ice. They dominated the game from start to finish. Akira Schmid has come out of absolutely nowhere. He has a 3-0 record now in the postseason with a .63 GAA and a .976 save percentage.
Not bad for a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
this is a big goalie pod. Those are some numbers.
Yep.
I think he's Swedish, I believe. The Swedish rookie, Swiss rookie, just out of nowhere. They yank Vanacek after the first 2. They plug this kid in, and all of a sudden, Jersey's up in the series 3-2. Did you guys have a chance to watch game 5? Because they dominated the Rangers start to finish.
That was awesome. That was so awesome. How embarrassing is it to go out and get Patrick Kane and Tarasenko and you can't score a goal? Like,
yeah, seriously.
What the fuck, man? Like,
you guys, like, they made the biggest splash at the deadline. They went out, they got like 2 goal scoring wingers, and
I forget who was commentating that game, but I think it was Eddie O who literally said, like, they panned to the Rangers bench and they all looked just like depleted and depressed. It was like late in the game and they kind of knew they were going to lose. And I think it was Eddie O that said, he was like, yeah, I don't think this team went out and got Kane and Tarasenko so they could score 0 goals in game 6. Like, don't think that was the plan.
Yeah, I don't think it was either. I mean, the Rangers have scored 2 goals combined in the past 3 games. That's pretty brutal. And in the first 2 games, to Kane and Tarasenko's credit, they were on fire. But 2 guys that have just completely shit the bed, who are not trade acquisitions, Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad have done absolutely nothing.
I think they have like 2 points total and
that's
no goals
insane.
or something. I think they like each have an assist, or maybe one of them has 2. So I don't know, but
Mika goals. Has 2 assists in the whole series. That's a guy who's got to get on the score sheet in the goal department.
So maybe that means Panarin has nothing. Is that true? That's crazy.
I shall fact check real quick.
I'm pretty sure I saw the other day that they have 2 points collectively and no goals. So that might be.
I mean, we talked about like panic meter here, boys, like between the Bruins and the Leafs. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Rangers should be the most concerned out of those teams in the East.
Can I just say, knowing what I know about Ranger fans, having a lot of family who are Ranger fans, I am concerned for what might happen in game 7, because there's going to be a lot of Rangers fans there. There's going to be a lot of both fans there. I'm concerned for what might happen if the Devils pull this off
on the subway platform.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Final stats here. Mika has 2 assists in the series, and Panarin also has 2 assists. So neither of them have scored.
So they got 4 points collectively. My mistake, but still, that's not very good.
In 5 games, and neither of them have scored. I mean, I don't know. So we got game 6 tonight in about 7 hours in MSG. It's going to be a bumping scene. I can guarantee you that. Do you think the Devils can pull this off in 6, or do you think we're going to see a game 7?
Sorry, that's what I meant, by the way. Not said. I'm saying I'm concerned for Devils fans in MSG tonight.
Yes.
Who, like, if they win that game at MSG,
run.
That's Yeah, I am scared for you because Rangers fans are going to not be nice to you, to say the least.
Actually, I don't want to hear your guys' picks yet. Like I said that for the end. But yeah, I'd be panicked if I'm the Rangers. This is not looking great. And that it takes a hot goalie, and Schmid's hot right now. He's the hottest goalie in the NHL right now. So I don't know. They're going to have to find a way.
You're right. Playoffs are all about momentum, and everything I've seen from that Rangers team is leading me to believe they have none of it.
Did you guys see Igor yelling at the bench?
Yeah.
He was like, wake the fuck up. Like, because they got routed 4-0. He made some 6 saves in the third to kind of keep it close. And at a TV timeout, he skated by the Rangers bench and told him to wake the fuck up.
And Rangers fans, of course, are not going to want to hear any criticism against their team because they can't accept it physically. But like, they hang him out to dry so much and no one talks about it.
Biz said it last year, and he said
that's true. He did. Yeah.
He said they give up the most high danger scoring chances out of anybody, and it's kind of biting him in the ass right now.
Which, like, you look at that defense core and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Like, how are you hanging your tendy out with guys like that? But who knows?
It's definitely not over. If there's anyone who can pull this off, I think it's the Rangers. But the momentum is all with Jersey right now. So tonight's going to be a big game.
Well, I was going to give a prediction, but like you said, we'll save it till later.
For sure.
Is this going to be like a Caps Bolts 2018 where like a team wins the first 2 games, loses the next 3, and then wins the last 2?
I don't know.
Or is it going to be like Caps Jackets in 2018 where you lose the first 2 at home and then you win 4 straight and you never look back?
Could be that. We'll see. All right, we're going to move on to the Western Conference. This series just concluded the other night. We've got the Vegas Golden Knights, who defeated the Winnipeg Jets in 5 games. Since we last spoke, we had games 4 and 5 under our belt. Game 4, Vegas wins 4-2. Game 5, Vegas wins 4-1. I do think it's worth mentioning, and I think it was just in Game 5, but Bruce Cassidy did sit Phil Kessel, which officially ended his Iron Man streak.
No, it didn't. That's a regular season thing only.
Well, I mean, he's
never been scratched, but his, like, by league rules, his Iron Man streak is alive.
Oh, okay. Well, it was let's put it this way. It was his first game missed since 2009.
True. Correct.
I guess it doesn't count against the streak technically, which is
a big deal.
The NHL is so weird.
I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because you don't count like goal and point totals in the playoffs tour. It's kind of just its own little mini season. All the stats are considered different.
I think Edzo said he had played like 1,041 straight games without missing, and now he didn't. But like Mac just said, not against the record.
Imagine how weird that must have felt though, like watching from the press box for the first time in like.
For William Carrier, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that his first name? William Carrier?
That sounds right.
Wasn't he one of the OG Knights, or
he
like
was.
At least maybe year 2 or something?
I'm pretty sure it was him or someone else got like lit up in the cup final. I forget who hit him, but like got him completely clean in front of the bench, just like
probably Tommy Hockey.
Probably.
So yeah, Vegas wraps it up. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I mean, every game felt like the same after the Jets snuck one out, but Vegas just kind of owned them. Chandler Stevenson looked great. This is one thing I do want to talk about. And we'll put the audio in here in a second, if that's okay, Nick. Is that okay? Post-game press conference from Coach Bowness for the Jets. Before we dive into it, let's insert the audio right here.
Overall thoughts, I'm so disappointed and disgusted right now. That's my thoughts.
Where does the disgust come from?
Pardon me?
Where does the disgust come from?
No pushback. But it's the same crap we saw in February. It was. That's why so as soon as we were challenging for first place and teams were coming after us, we had no pushback. This series, we had no pushback. Their better players were so much better than ours, it's not even close.
Yeah, so as you can see, kind of awkward.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Comedy Central roast of the Winnipeg Jets.
I'm a Rick Bowness guy. I liked him in Dallas. I usually come to this guy's defense pretty quickly, but I don't think that's the right way to do this, man. And I don't know if you guys heard Blake Wheeler's comments in regards to what Bowness said, but I think he was spot on. Basically, Wheeler came out and said they asked him, they like in the season wrap-up interview or whatever, they asked Wheeler what he thought of Bowness kind of hanging the team out to dry in his post-game presser. And he was like, credit to Wheeler because he kept his cool, but he gave a really honest answer. And he was just like, yeah, I think that Rick had an opportunity to discuss that with us and be really honest with us behind closed doors. Instead, he chose to come out here and run his mouth to all of y'all. And because he did that, now I have to answer questions like this. And
wow, good for him.
Yeah. Like I think he made a really, like, it was just a super veteran way to answer that question. He kept his cool. He wasn't like throwing shots, being like, yeah, he's an asshole for doing that. But he said, you asked me a question. This is what I think of it. I wish he handled it different.
It's just a weird situation. Maurice leaves. They wanted Trotz. Trotz said no. Even last season, they talked about that locker room having some toxic leadership. And then Bowness pulls this shit. And then Wheeler's comments, it's like, holy crap, man. And then they talk about Hellebuck, talking about a contract extension and the locker room clean out. And he's like, I ain't rebuilding. I want to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I could see him getting traded. I could see the Jets getting blown up.
I think we're due for a blow up here.
I do get the frustration from Bowness a little bit, though, because how the fuck do you win game one against a good team, Vegas Golden Knights, 5-1, and then you can't even like basically show up after that, like at all? Like you barely are in any of the games after that one. I think one went to overtime after that or something.
They tied that one late. I think it was game 2 or game 3 and sent it to OT. But
for the most part, you just fail to show up for the rest of the games. Like that is pretty inexcusable. So I do get why Bowness is frustrated. And that's also a guy who's been here for a while. That man wants a Stanley Cup. He was so close to it with Dallas. I get why he's frustrated. Don't get me wrong, but I still think you're a professional. It's not the right call to go out there right after your team loses and be like, I was disgusted. Like that. It
just seems like the move from a guy who's not going to be there next year.
Right. Or maybe isn't going to, I don't know. Help yourself out, Ricky. Like, I don't think any team in the NHL sees that and now wants to hire you. Like,
oh God,
here we go. No one wants a coach like that who's going to hang their players out to dry. Like no one wants to bring.
Do you realize the Washington Capitals are coachless at the point, right?
No.
And Rick Bowness is viewed as a very like most guys like him. I feel like
I know.
My only defense of
him in this
situation. My only defense of Rick,
give it to me.
Like all I can say about him is if I had to live in Winnipeg for 9 months and someone asked me a dumb question, I'd probably have this response too.
After living in Dallas too, it's like warm most of the time.
You saw what was behind the bench in Dallas. Come on.
Oh
God,
hard to leave.
Yeah.
So Hellebuck 1-8 in his last 9 playoff starts. Not all his fault, but brutal. Jets didn't have Cole Perfetti, Josh Morrissey, or Mark Scheifele for basically part of that series, so that's also brutal. Enough of the doom and gloom in Winnipeg. I got to give credit to Vegas, man. I mean, Mark Stone looks like a man possessed. Chandler Stevenson looks great. Eichel's finding his way. Brossoit looked good. I don't think they can beat Edmonton or LA, but I think that the series in the second round could go further than maybe I thought.
I agree. I think it's going to be a much more intense battle than we thought. And I mean, shout out to Brossoit. The dude had to go into Winnipeg and deal with you're our backup chance and then smoked them. So good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of sweet revenge there, right?
Yeah,
so.
beating Hellebuck. I mean, that's...
Which, it doesn't matter anyways, because Hellebuck's going to be sick for the Sabres next season, so...
Yo, give that to me. I'm down.
Right?
I'm so down. That'd be sick.
Going to be an interesting goaltender free agency market. We got Tristan Jarry on there too. Curious to see what happens there.
I don't think anybody's really that interested in him.
Okay, moving on. We got the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings. Since we last spoke, we had game 5 happen. The Oilers, man, they came to play. They win 6-3 on home ice. That first period was an absolute gong show. It was 3-2 after the first. I mean, Draisaitl just completely took over the game. McDavid too, but holy shit, Leon is playing out of his fucking mind. I don't know the stat, but he's with like Mario and Gretz for most points per game in playoffs through like 30 career postseason games, I think.
There's only one other Oiler we've ever seen put up playoff numbers like this, and it's not 97, it's 99.
Yeah. So we got game 6. happening tonight, about 10 hours from now. Both teams have had 3 days off since Game 5, which is absolutely bonkers.
Hate that.
I missed this series, man. Like, this is the one I want to watch.
I
Yeah.
also just hate that for the players. I don't think they want that.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe two isn't the worst thing in a playoff round. You're like, all right, give me an extra day. 3 is a lot. You lose some momentum, I think.
I do say I think this favors the Kings. They're definitely the older team, so maybe a little rest will help them,
Especially on the back end.
Mhm.
Yeah, you Doughty, Kopitar, those guys are eating minutes right now.
Don't they have like Alex Edler too?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Good point. So let's see. What are your thoughts? Is LA doomed? Is Edmonton? Do you think Edmonton just kind of took their souls?
I won't
mean,
say,
I've been
like-
so big on the Kings, but I am a little worried.
I won't say took their souls, but the scary thing if you're a Kings fan is the Oilers are like finding their game consistently now. And if you can't find a way to stop that in Game 6, you're toast.
Yeah. They've done a good job early on in the series of like keeping McDavid quiet, frustrating the offense, playing the LA brand of hockey. They got to find a way to get back to that. I don't like it right now. I don't like the vibe. It feels wrong. I'm worried for the Kings, but I would love to be wrong. I want the Kings to win this series so bad.
Same.
I've been saying it on this pod. I don't know why, but this is kind of my team for this postseason. I don't know why, but I'm jumping on that LAK bandwagon. On the East, though, go Devils. I'm all in on the Devils.
Looking
with
for
you,
a
Mac.
rematch of what, the 2012 Cup
I
final?
am. Yeah, give me that. That sounds awesome.
I'm with you, Mac. I'm rooting hard for the Kings too. Also put a wager on them to win the series. That was a juicy price too. I don't know. I mean, the one thing I will say that I'm hopeful for Game 6, LA was one of the best home teams all year long. They are on home ice for Game 6. They have the veteran leadership who's been there, done that, played in these huge games. I really do feel like this one's going to go 7. I said it from the start, so I don't know why I would feel any different. So fuck it. I'm going to say, and we'll get into this more, I think the Kings are going to pull it off tonight, and we're going to end up going back to Edmonton.
I agree.
Yeah, so I said it. I think right around trade deadline, we were talking about this, but come on, we need an LA Kings versus VGK second round matchup. That's something that I think would be an excellent matchup and would be can't miss hockey, as they say. I don't know. I don't think we'd see Jonathan Quick, so I mean that storyline maybe wouldn't be as big of a issue as we initially thought. But either way, I think that'd be a fun matchup.
It would, because either team could win that series you could tell me that the Kings would sweep that. You could tell me that the Knights would sweep that. You could tell me that the Kings would win in 7, and I would believe all 3 of those scenarios.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Going to be a fun Game 6. We'll get the predictions here.
And we'll have boots on the ground. My sister and friend of the pod, Morgan Miller, will be at the game. They're going to take over the EB story for that one. So
let's go. Yeah, that'll be a good one at Crypto. That's going to be an electric atmosphere.
Staples Center. I can't say crypto.com.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's
Fuck
like
that.
not calling, like, as much as we all hate the Steelers, like it's like calling whatever they renamed.
Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Science Fields.
It's the mustard packet. Come on.
Miller Park.
The mustard.
It's not American Family Insurance Field. It's Miller
Is
Park.
that what it is now?
Yes,
That's so
AmFam.
stupid.
That's so wrong. Oh, also, while we're talking about it, RIP to the Saddle Dome. Come on.
Oh
yeah.
They're taking away one of the best
Yeah.
venues in hockey.
That's true. That is a bummer.
They get their new arena, right?
Yeah, which they desperately need. I think
Yeah,
that
they do.
the Saddle Dome is like
It's the oldest one in the league, I think.
That team is
oldest.
such a
It like
dumpster fire.
floods. Like, yeah, seriously, they are.
Yeah. All right. Last series, or I'm sorry, actually not last series, second to last series, Colorado and Seattle. Since we last spoke, we had games 4, 5, and 6 just happen. Seattle takes game 4 in an epic overtime win. Jordan Eberle scores the OT winner. And then in game 5, a shocking win. Seattle takes a 3-2 series lead. There was no Cale Makar in that game due to suspension. We'll talk about that in the discussion portion. And the Avalanche just did not look like they had any depth at all. It was basically Rantanen and McKinnon, and then the other 10 guys were just swinging their dicks in a circle.
And honestly, I love Nate. This is a big Nate Mac pod. He was trying to do way too much in the last 5 to 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to put the team on his back, but maybe a little too much there. An interesting stat, and this was after game 5, before game 6. 12 of the 14 goals total that the Avs scored in the series have been either scored by McKinnon and Rantanen or Makar, which is
Wow.
crazy. So that's a little nuts. But then game 6 happens. We were in Seattle. Seattle was home underdogs. I was on Seattle. I didn't publish it, but I was on them. And the Avs end up winning that one 4-1 and force a game 7 Sunday night in Denver. McKinnon had 7 shots on goal. I can only imagine how many shots he's going to have in game 7. Whatever the prop is, hammer it over. Arturi Lehkonen has a pair of goals. Devon Taves with 3 assists. It's a great game, great hockey game. So we are going to have a game 7 between the defending Cup champs and the newest expansion team. Thoughts on this series so far?
First of all, I would just like to say, hey, Seattle, welcome to the playoffs and welcome to the chaos. Enjoy your first game 7. I mean that both in a funny way and also sincerely. Enjoy game 7. Honestly, enjoy every moment of it, whether you win or not. If you're a Kraken fan, this is what it's all about. So have fun. Secondarily, I would like to give a shout out to one Mr. Daniel Sprong for 2 reasons. One, he's on the ice when it matters most. They trust him. He seems like he's finally made it and found a good fit for himself. So I'm happy for him in that regard, because I mean they were trying to tie that game up, and he's on the ice, like he's got the puck a lot of the time. So good for him. Second reason I want to shout him out. He wears a gold chain that basically hangs down to his knees when he's on, like, you know that song, it's like, when your chain hangs low, do you tie it in a knot? Yeah, that's Daniel Sprong for you. So it's just funny to see him out there with that thing just hanging. But
chain hanged in my ding-a-ling.
There you go.
That too.
Yeah,
but,
he does have a fat chain. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's so funny.
Yeah.
He had a sick goal, I think, in game 5, if I'm not mistaken, an absolute nip.
He's a sniper.
What's the status on Berkey? Do we know?
I don't know.
I do not know, to be honest with you, and that is something that we haven't even talked about. I think nobody's really talked
I
about.
kind of forgot about it, actually.
Yeah, everybody's forgot about that. But we got game 7 Sunday night. I gotta give a tip of the cap to the Seattle Kraken. I did not pick them to win the series, but I did say that this one was probably going to go 6 or 7. I think a lot of people in Colorado chalked up in 4 or 5. They are a tough team to play against. And
I want them to win the series.
Yeah, I do too at this
Same.
point.
Yeah, me too.
One guy, and I've said it all year long, and I am officially going to give him my stamp of most underrated player in the league easily. It's not Barkov. Everybody always talks about that. This guy's the most underappreciated player in the league.
I know who you're going to say.
Vince Dunn. Is
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Dude, he is a absolute gamer. Like, he had a sick season. He's had a sick series. He's involved in every goal. He plays like almost 30 minutes a night on a decor that nobody can even name half of. He's the most underappreciated player in the league. There you go.
I thought you were going to say some more praise for your boy James McCann. Or no,
Jared McCann.
James McCann is the baseball player.
That's right.
Well, poor McCann got absolutely fucked by Makar. He got sussied. We'll talk about that. But Vince Dunn has been unreal.
It's true. Good. You have been high on that guy for a while. You've been saying that he is like one of the most underrated players in the league and was a huge part of that Blues team in 2019, right?
He won you some money this year, didn't he?
Assist props, man. I know that's a weird one, but he is an assist machine. He did
not
have
for
a goal.
Defenseman. It's not weird.
He had a goal and he scored the only goal for them in game 6. But yeah, I love Vince Dunn. Great player, assist machine. So
that was a smoke job too of a goal. He got every ounce of wood behind that.
Yeah. So we'll talk game 7 when we give our predictions. That is going to be coming up right after we chat Dallas and Minnesota. But if you guys don't have any more notes on this one, we'll move on.
I think I'm good.
All right. So last series, this one is also over. The Dallas Stars, they officially defeat the Minnesota Wild in 6 games. Since we last spoke, game 5, Dallas absolutely whooped the Wild 4-0 on home ice. Very reminiscent of the Devils-Rangers game 5, where the Devils just absolutely squashed the Rangers on home ice. Sagan, Robertson, Marchment, Delandria, they all scored for Dallas. Rupe Hintz had 3 assists in that game. He has been unbelievable. The Dallas power play is honestly the difference in this series. We'll also talk about this one. Marcus Foligno had a quote-unquote knee-on-knee hit on Radek Faksa and was assessed a game misconduct, and that is immediately what led to Sagan to put the Stars up 1-0, and they never looked back. So we'll talk about that one in the discussion of the week. But, Dallas takes a 3-2 lead, and then they go into mini and whoop them 4-1 last night to win the series. Rupe Hintz, again, scored an unreal goal, reposted it on the EB page. Not sure if you guys saw that. He just
Nasty.
took over the series.
So nasty.
Took over the series. And then the last note is, will we see Pavelski back? I know they were saying he was taking a morning skate for game 6. I imagine he'll be back for game 2. That's going to be huge for the Stars.
So I have a couple things to say about this series. Number one, I got a lot of Wild fan friends, and I was rooting for the Wild in this series too. And I know everybody's bitching about the referee calls and shit. I got a couple of things to say. Number one, as much as I love yous, you lost this series. You were not the better team. You got beat. I don't care what calls you disagree with, what calls maybe were bullshit. I don't care. You lose 4-0. I don't really care that it caused the first goal or whatever. You can't score a goal. That's your fault. You lose. Second thing I have to say, I did not give this Dallas team enough credit. They look legit to me, you guys.
When they're on, they're on.
They look like they could go the distance this year. Like there's every other team so far has showed some sort of concern to me where it's like, ooh, that was bad. That was a bad game, or like that didn't look too good. Dallas has looked pretty much perfect in almost every game, I think. They've been in all of them, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. They might be pissed off enough to try and go back and actually win it this year. All of a sudden, I'm worried about them.
Especially with a team in the West too, you start to do the can they beat Edmonton test, and I think the Dallas Stars absolutely could take the Edmonton Oilers. They have
with
the goaltending.
Ottinger, man. I really don't think that there's any limitations here on how far they could go. I really think they look fucking good.
Well, speaking of Ottinger, I mean, playoff Ottinger, he did it last year and he's doing it again this year. In the 6 games played in this series, he stopped 170 of 183 shots. That's good enough for a .928 save percentage, registered a shutout in game 5, and only allowed 1 goal in the last 2 games of the series.
Good thing they're still paying Holtby.
Yeah, really. But hard not to root for Ottinger, man. I don't know if you guys see the post-game pressers, but his parents and his grandparents go to like every game, and he just says it means the world to him that he can play in front of them. So I love that. I like Ottinger. I like the Stars team. They're fun to watch.
His mask is awesome too, with like the little otter on the back.
Yeah, for sure. I put this question out there on Twitter. I don't have the answer, so we're still looking. But the Dallas Stars, let's talk about that 2017 draft class for a second. Chicklets Game Notes brought it up the other day. I got to give him credit for this. That 2017 draft class, their first 3 picks were Heiskanen, Ottinger, and Robertson. Talk about knocking it out of the park.
I was about to say, that's literally your team right now. Like, that is
How did Jason Robertson go in the 2nd round?
Yeah, that's silly.
It's madness.
That's silly. That's a steal.
I posed this question to Twitter, and we have one response from our friends at Hockey Collective. And I don't have the exact answer, but I would like to hear what you guys say to this. And I hope I phrase this right. Which NHL team right now has the highest percentage of their roster through the draft, meaning not free agent acquisitions? So players that team drafted on the roster right now.
That's a great question.
That is a good one.
I love that. And
I Googled and I could not find a clean answer to this. Our friends at Hockey Collective commented. They have an answer, but I don't want to read it until I hear what you guys have to say.
I mean, based on what you just said, could it be Dallas?
That's why I brought this question up. I was like, is it Dallas? Like,
I feel like it's Dallas, or I'm tending to think it's a team that's not as good.
Dallas drafted Jamie Benn, right?
Dallas drafted Jamie Benn. They drafted Faksa. They
did not draft Sagan.
They did not.
No. So I named 3, and then they have Robertson, Ottinger, and Heiskanen. So that's.
Did they draft Hintz?
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 6. Wyatt Johnson, that's 7.
Harry,
Delandria.
can you give me some hints?
I don't have I actually don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to who has the most, but I do have Hockey Collective's response. They have a good one. And
Damn it.
I think they might be right.
Damn it.
I don't know. Well, Hockey
What's the
Collective
answer?
says the
What's their answer?
They said the
Devils?
Devils.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Ooh.
They listed Heischer,
Heischer,
Jack Hughes,
Bratt.
Boquist, McLeod, Mercer,
Sharangovich?
Sharangovich,
Yep.
Bratt, Baston, Wood,
Bastian.
Severson, Luke Hughes, Blackwood, Schmid. I mean, that's a lot.
That is a
Damn.
lot.
Damn, wait, holy
That's
shit.
like the first 3 lines for them.
And
Yeah.
both their goalies, and well, not Vanacek, but
Yeah.
Schmid and Blackwood. They have Mackenzie Blackwood. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's just not involved.
So not to go off topic, but yeah, I think maybe the Devils based on what Collective says.
That
but
sounds right.
Interesting.
if anybody listening has other
Good for them. That's
answers,
impressive. Honestly,
Submit-
it's impressive if you did that and you're this good.
Yeah. Submit your answers to us on Twitter. You can reply to the tweet if you are interested. Last thing, the Minnesota Wild, they haven't gotten past the first round since 2015. So
That feels wrong, but
Did
I
you
guess
guys
it's
see
not.
that graphic that I think like NHL Breakers posted? It was like lost in first round,
Yeah.
missed playoffs, and then just continued lost in first round.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
pretty
That's
rough
very
for the
upsetting.
state of hockey. They got
Yeah.
good fans, but
That sports curse in Minnesota, man, it is real.
Jeez.
yeah, very brutal. All right, that wraps it up for all the series breakdowns. We're going to move on to the discussion portions where we will also give out our game 6 and 7 picks. This discussion portion is presented to you by Kane Footwear, who I think Nick has a word from.
That's right. Not going to do the ad read today. I'm just going to tell you a story about what I did with my canes the other day. So it was pouring rain yesterday here in Maryland. It basically rained from 9 a.m. to like 2 in the morning, nonstop thunderstorms all day. So I had to go get the mail. So I had to walk down to the end of my driveway. So I put my canes on. Those shoes have holes in them. My feet didn't get wet. Amazing.
Yeah, the material, right?
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I do wear those in the rain a lot. Even if your feet do get wet, right? You're not getting your socks wet. You're not getting your shoes
Exactly.
wet. They dry easily. So definitely go check them out. Link in our social bios to go purchase. That does help support us. Appreciate it.
Definitely.
All right. We've got 1, 2, 3 discussion questions, and then we will move on. We will move on to the picks. First question, and this one is because I tweeted something about it last night. Where do you now rank Matthew Tkachuk after this series amongst the league's best? Do you rank him top 3, 5, 10, 20? Where you got him?
Easily 10, maybe 5.
$10, like number 10.
So I tweeted this yesterday. Didn't get a whole lot of backlash, but in my opinion, I don't think it's crazy if you put him in the same breath at this point as maybe like Austin Matthews. I did say McKinnon in the tweet, but he has a cup. But I don't think it's crazy to put McKinnon or Matthews and Tkachuk in the same sentence.
I would agree. I mean, my reason for saying easily 10, maybe 5 is like, I think you look at it from like a MVP situation. And I'm not saying like the league's MVP, but I'm saying like somebody who is like just so irreplaceable on a
The literal
roster.
definition, he's the most valuable player on that team.
Yeah, and like I think that there's not a single team in the league that wouldn't want him. There's just that he is such a unique playing style. Like every asset that he has to his gameplay is so unique in combination. I don't think there's many players like him, and maybe any players like him.
I think it completely changes the identity of your team if you bring in a player like that.
Yeah,
like
I mean that's basically what Florida did.
You've got a guy who can run people over like Tom Wilson, but can also put up 110 points with the wind at his back. So
Yeah.
Definitely a key asset for the.
And
for
he's
the
a leader.
Panthers.
He wants to. He
Yeah.
wants to win. I mean, you can't say enough about the guy. He's kind of everything. Like he's just a Swiss Army knife player.
Yep.
I'd say he's in. I'd say he's probably between number 5 and number 7 on my list of top 10 players at this point.
That's a
My
good spot.
only knock that I've seen in the playoffs, and it's the same thing I said about McKinnon. I thought there was 1 or 2 situations in the first couple games where he was trying to do too much, but it seems like he's figured that out now.
Young guy, he'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on to the Makar suspension, he was suspended for one game. That was game 5, which Colorado lost, for a extremely late hit on Jared McCann. What were your thoughts on this one? I do think it's worth mentioning. He got booed the entire game 6 in Seattle, and he said in his press conference he's never been booed by an opposing team in his career.
Deserved it. That was
Absolutely.
shitty, man. That was
a
fucked
shitty
up.
hit.
I hated it.
Yeah, it was very late. Yeah, I didn't really like it.
I don't think of him as a guy like that too. Like I was pretty
Yeah.
surprised to see that, but I did not like that hit at all. That
The
was
thing for
hilarious.
me is like you can just tell how unprepared McCann is for the hit. Like McCann is not a dainty hockey player. Like he will go into the corner and come out with the puck.
He's been around too. He's not like a fucking rookie.
Sure.
Or like, yeah.
Yeah, he goes into the corner with Makar. The puck's like 200 feet away at that point, and then he just gets lit up. So
Yeah, that's fucked.
You think one game was enough? Not enough? Too much?
in the playoffs, I say 1. I think if this is
Yeah.
in the regular season, you're probably looking at 2 to 3.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Worth noting, it was right off of a breakaway shot that was stopped. McCann was kind of like going towards the boards to turn around, and Makar just lit his world up.
Yeah,
So
that was so stupid.
now this is the next topic is one that I think is a little more what's the word? Divisive.
Yeah.
Marcus Foligno was assessed a game misconduct for quote unquote a knee-on-knee hit with Radek Faksa. If you haven't seen the clip, I highly encourage you watch it. What were your thoughts on this one? This kind of changed the series in a way.
You're not wrong. It absolutely changed the series. This is a really interesting one because you can come at it from 2 ways. You can basically go ahead and say, yep, point of contact, knee on knee, call it whatever you want. I don't know if I'm going to call this a game misconduct. I think maybe you call it 5, but it really didn't look intentional to me. But then again, I know you're supposed to be in control of your body just the way you're supposed to be in control of your stick. So it's one of those things that I think the NHL is going to take a look at and say, these are the kind of hits we don't want. So we're going to put a suspension in.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you pretty much explained it perfectly. It's one of those where you're like, did he mean to? Probably not. Did he hit the guy knee on knee? Yeah. Is it maybe a little bit Fox's fault for like trying to avoid the hit? Like, I guess. I mean, I guess, but also if you're a player like and you have a chance to avoid a hit, you're gonna try to. That's just a natural like instinct to like feel like, oh, can I get out of the way of this huge person that's trying to wreck me right now? I might be able to. Okay, I'm gonna try to, and then you end up getting your knee blown out. But yeah, it's a tough one. I would reiterate what I said before: suspension, no suspension; game misconduct, no misconduct; penalty, no penalty. They lost the series for themselves. Maybe it changed some momentum and stuff, but you lose that game 4-0. I'm not buying that this is why.
I echo everything Mac just said. They lost that game, and the coaching decision to start Fleury, like how can you
yes, it goes
how
back
can
to
you
that for
say
sure.
we should have been in this series after something like that?
I think the 2 main reasons why you lose this series are number 1, Dean Evison made a bonehead call switching goalies when he didn't need to, and number 2, you couldn't score goals when you needed to. Those are the 2 biggest reasons you lose the series. Did this play a role? Sure, maybe it's number 3 or something, but yeah.
No, there's 2 actual reasons why they lost.
Yeah.
And not a coincidence that I think right before game 5, when this Marcus Foligno call happened, he did say to the media that the penalties in game, I believe 3, were bullshit against him to the refs. Then they toss him in this game when he makes a, gutsy play. And like I said, Sagan scores on the power play as a result of this. And the Stars never looked back. They ended up outscoring the Wild 8-1 after this penalty, which is just nuts.
I feel like there was a lot of complaining. I know we talked about complaining about officiating, but from this series specifically, I just feel like there was more than what we're used to.
Oh, absolutely.
It was justified too, in my opinion.
There were some shitty calls. I'm not like, if you're a Wild fan, you're listening. I'm not gaslighting you. You definitely got hosed on a lot of calls.
Now, the Dallas Stars crowd, there's a couple 2-tree things that y'all got upset about that like are just normal things that happen in hockey. So
that's hockey, baby.
It was a good series. I wish that one kind of went at 7, but
I know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Stars. All right, let's get to the part that everyone wants to hear about. we've got prediction time, and you both will be held accountable for this. We're going to be tweeting these out live as this goes down. So let's get to it. First up, LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers tonight, game 6, I'm sorry, in Los Angeles. Who you got?
Go Kings, go. I don't know why. It's like I think you sold me when you were like, really good home team. I don't know. I'm gonna will this thing to go 7 games. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm right there with you. I picked the Kings. I'm not changing now. We're this deep. Go Kings, baby. LA.
It is not good that all of us are picking LA.
Wow.
Nick, I think you had Edmonton win this series, didn't you?
I do, and I don't care. I'd rather the Kings win and me be wrong.
I'm gonna go the Kings as well, which is not good because this easily means the Oilers are closing it out tonight. That all 3 of us are on this, but I think it's gonna go 7. I said Kings and 7 from the start, so why deviate now? It's kind of going the way I thought it would. So I'm gonna take the LA Kings in game 6. Now I will ask you this, since all of us are picking the Kings to win game 6, who will win game 7, do you think?
Hear me out.
Oh God.
If the Kings push it to 7, they find a way to get it done this year.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I
They
think
came close last year, but
it's a cop-out answer to be like, well, if they win this one, then they win it. But that is kind of how I feel. If they lose, they're out. If they win, this is game 7.
yes.
Game 6 is game 7.
Yeah. If they I feel like the pressure in Edmonton is just going to be like the same thing with the Leafs. Like it's
Canadian
just going to be
market,
so much to handle.
Best player in the world. Yeah.
And the Kings are just going to stroll in there going, it's a hockey game.
Yeah.
If we lose, we lose to Connor McDavid. If we win, we probably have a clear-cut path to the Stanley Cup final, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
That's how
if you're a basketball fan, it's like the Knicks situation. It's
Seriously,
like, holy shit,
though.
the Bucks are gone.
Yeah.
Like, look at all this. Like, all of a sudden, it's kind of like March Madness too.
Well,
the whole like
it's the
Marquette,
Knicks.
Michigan State side of the bracket. You're like, holy shit, I have a clear path.
Right.
All the big dogs fell.
But it's fine. We'll lose to Kansas State. It's cool.
Yeah.
The Knicks thing, though, is just so funny because they're still going to blow it.
Oh, boy.
100%.
So we trashed the Rangers. Now we're trashing the Knicks. I think we just lost half our fan base, so that's great.
I'm okay with that.
It's fine.
All right, next pick. Game 6 tonight. The Rangers, the Devils at Madison Square Garden. Who do you got?
I painted my face. Support the team.
David Putty.
Go Devils.
You got the Devils, eh?
Yeah.
I do too. I think fuck it. The Rangers are about to get embarrassed at MSG, and then we're gonna see like another like drunk fan like knockout punch some poor Devils kid and like probably go to jail.
Wow. Okay then.
If this is what it
people
takes to
forget.
lock up Rangers fans, I'm all for it. Just one playoff series, one douchebag a year. Let's just keep working, doing God's work.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Rangers. I know all the momentum's with the Devils. We have all 3 been prisoner of the moment so hard in this series up to this point, but I don't think this Rangers team goes down in 6 that easily. Home ice, I think they're going to find a way to get it done. I will say this. I think it's going to be like a 2-1 like nail biter.
Yeah.
I think it goes to OT, maybe even like double OT. And I think like, momentum's with the Rangers, the building's buzzing, and just puck goes in the net and the life is sucked out.
It's going to go off a skate. It's going to go off a butt.
Yeah.
Harry, to your point, like low scoring games in this series have favored the Devils. And that's why I'm thinking like maybe 2-1, like, they don't want like 5-4. They want 2-1, 1-3, that kind of stuff.
They want Schmid on his game. They want him frustrating that NYR team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
that being said, a game 7 here is what everyone wants. So
yeah, it's win-win. It's win-win tonight for a guy like me who wants the Devils to win the series. If they win tonight, sick. Fuck the Rangers. If they lose, game 7, that's gonna be electric.
All I have to say about this is whichever one of these teams wins this series, I will be rooting for them to lose in the second round without question.
I'm Devils all the way. I'm Devils all the way.
I like them play the Canes. Whoever wins,
I like
plays
them more
the
than
Canes.
all of the other East teams.
I just don't want. They're met. I don't know. It's too soon, too quick. They got to pay their dues.
first playoff hockey game I ever went to was a Devils game, so I got a soft spot for
I can
him.
just I can feel like my phone ringing now. My uncle going, "Oh, how many cups you got, huh?"
Oh my god.
Well, we got Mac and Nick with the Devils. I'm riding the Rangers. Not going to give out anything for game 7 should that happen. I got to see how the night goes, but I think this is the one series I think everybody thought would go 7, so I'm not deviating from that now. All right. Toronto, Tampa. Game 6 predictions. Let's hear it.
It's Tampa.
It's Tampa.
It's
Like,
Tampa.
this is like I said this, guys, when it was up 3-1. Like everything
It's so
I've
much
learned
fun.
in the last 10 years is telling me that this is going 7.
It's
Oh,
so much
God.
fun. I love this shit. I love not caring about it too. Like I love not being a Leafs or Bolts fan and getting to watch this shit every year.
All right.
It's amazing. I mean,
Hear me.
all I'm going to say is this. If the Leafs blow this, I'm done. Like never bringing them up on the podcast
Yeah,
again. Like the
yeah,
NHL is
honestly.
going back to 31 teams, in my opinion.
Extinct.
Yeah, seriously.
I have no, I'm crying, I'm laughing so hard. I have no clue. I really have no clue how this game's gonna go tonight. I have 2 gut feelings. Toronto wins an absolute nail biter, or Tampa blows the doors off of them.
Yep.
I don't think there's any
Yeah.
in between.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it could be.
I think this is like 5-1 Tampa or like 3-2 Toronto.
And Nick Paul is going to score this game. I'm just putting that out there now. It's going to happen.
Yeah, load up on that.
I've been like nervous to text like our buddy Bowens and stuff like before these games, because I'm like, holy crap, like last time I texted him before the game, they lost. Like, I don't want to like mess
Yeah.
with his mojo. Like it's
Right.
secondhand stress almost.
Well, as a Caps fan, I honestly used to hate when like the casuals would text me before like a huge game and be like, "So, like, this is a crazy game," or what? Like, just shut up, man. Like, I don't need you texting me being like, "Are you excited?" or like, "Are you nervous?" Like,
It's like the first hockey game they've watched all year.
literally, they're like
Yeah.
they're at a bar and they see it's on. They're like, "Oh, this is game 7. The Caps really need to win. My buddy loves them." I'm gonna like, just dude. Don't text me.
Those are the worst people to watch games with, because they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, when are they gonna fight? Why doesn't he just
Yeah.
shoot the puck?" I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
The whole world is on the Lightning. We're running a Twitter poll right now. I think it's like 88% Lightning vote. Everyone's
Guys,
on the Bolts.
There's no way they lose this game.
Yeah. I
Come
agree.
on. It's
Vasi
Vasi.
just
It's Cooper.
just returned
It's
to form
Point. Like,
last
come
game.
on.
Yeah.
I'm getting sucked, dude. I'm getting sucked. Like, I think the Leafs are gonna win. I don't know why I think that.
All
I
right,
didn't
lock
think
in the
they'd-
pick and let's
Yeah.
move on.
I didn't think they'd win game 5, but I feel like I will say that. All right, I'm picking Toronto. So there
Okay.
it is. I think
Well,
Leafs win
great.
tonight. I will say this. If they lose tonight, they are not winning game 7.
No.
There is
Oh,
no way.
absolutely.
No,
Yeah,
it's over.
but
you talk
if-
about a game 6 that is game 7. It's
Yes.
this one. Yeah.
If Chief Keef can find a way to pull this out, then
Yep.
I think the Leafs. I think they finally do it tonight. I think it's going to happen. I know that's going to bite me in the ass.
what's the score prediction here?
I'm going to go 3-2 Maple Leafs.
Regulation.
Regulation, I think it's going to
Oh.
be like a 2-2 game going into the third, and then there's a weird deflection goal. I feel like Morgan Riley's going to end up shooting the puck. I don't know if he scores.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Goes off somebody or something. That's how I see this one shaking out.
I mean, shout out to him. He's looked great this series, and for a guy that's just been like shit on for the last 5 years, good for him.
Reason
Going
I think
Leafs.
the Leafs are done. Last thing I'll say. Reason I think the Leafs are done is Samsonov. I think he literally
That's
like
the
he
part
lost
that-
his confidence last game. He's tweaking out. They kept zooming in on him after goals and stuff, and you could see it in his eyes. He's like, "Holy shit, am I?"
I
a
think it was,
failure?" like
Game, I don't know if it was, I think it was game 5, and Panger was on the call. Love Darren Pang. I think he's one of the best in the business. And, as attendee, he goes, "Guys, we're 10 minutes into the first period, and Samsonov looks very uncomfortable in the
Yeah.
net. And he's
Yeah.
faced
Yeah.
like 3 shots."
yeah, he's tweaking for sure, and
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah, that's the one thing holding me back, but I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
Mac,
know.
this is what you said, I think, going back over the summer, like when he went there. Like, this is what we don't want for him.
Yeah.
Let's go Leafs. All right. Boston, Florida, Game 7. Can't believe I'm saying that. Mac, lead us off.
God damn. It's Boston.
There's no way they don't do it.
They survive. I want
And
it to be
it's
Florida
gonna be
so
like-
bad, and I wouldn't be that shocked if it was. I really wouldn't, but I think they get it done. I think
You know
they
what's
figure it
going to
out.
suck, though, is this is going to be like Boston's adversity.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're just going to win
And then
every
they're just
series
gonna-
in like 5 after
Yeah.
that or something. Yeah.
Oh, man, this is going to be a tough one.
Are you going to do it?
Please do it. One
I
of
do
us
it.
has to do it. I
Someone's
wanted
got
to do it.
I'll say this. From a betting perspective, I think Florida's definitely going to be worth the value. They're probably going to
Yes.
be plus 140 to 50, somewhere in that
Yeah,
range. That's
maybe
definitely
more.
worth
I
it.
think
Maybe
more. I
even
think you're
more.
probably looking at the 60s, just
70,
with it
yeah.
being in Boston. 80s,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to get
Fuck it. Plus 300.
I God damn it. This is the hardest one for me to pick
It
because
is really tough. After that
It's-
game, how can you predict anything?
I will
after
say this
watching that
about this
6?
game. If it's low scoring, the Bruins win. If it's high
Yes.
scoring, the Cats win.
That's probably true.
odds maker
probably true.
Nick was dead on. We're at plus 190 for the Panthers.
Wow.
Whoa.
You gotta hit that. You gotta hit that.
That's
Plus
just the
190 for the
TD
Cats.
Garden bump right
Everyone
there. Like,
should
that's
take that.
40 points of that. Are
You know what?
just
Fuck
because
it. I'm
it's in
taking the
Boston.
Panthers.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. Let's go.
Someone has to do it.
We
They're
gotta
not-
insert like
They're
the little like
Yeah, we'll put the Clementine clip when he jumped in for you over this. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
there-
gonna be.
There you go.
Here's the problem. I'll take the Panthers. They're gonna have to win this one low scoring. Game 7s are never a shootout. This is gonna be 2-1, 3-2.
Bet this to go to OT.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobrovsky's gonna have to do his thing. But man, I like just picturing Matthew Tkachuk putting the dagger in
Oh,
Massachusetts.
that'd be so sick.
Just
That'd
gets
be
me-
so sick.
Guy
me
has
feeling
scored
away.
Game 7 OT winners before. Did it with the London Knights. Won a Mem Cup. So could
So
happen.
you guys are going Boston. You know what? I'll get ballsy. I'll take Florida.
Would
Whatever.
love to be wrong. Would love to be wrong.
I feel like can we talk about this for a second? The Panthers hashtag for Twitter is like the dumbest
stupidest thing.
What is it?
Time to hunt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
It should
that
be
is.
hashtag roar. Like, come on.
Yeah, or
Or just
meow.
go
Yes.
Cats go.
Yeah.
Go Cats go. Yeah, time to hunt is very dumb.
So stupid.
I hate typing it out.
I have another good one, but that's gonna be off pod.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't put it on a t-shirt. Okay.
No, we can't.
All right. Squid Squad versus the Mountains. The Seattle Kraken versus the Colorado Avalanche. Game 7 in Denver. Who you got?
Squid.
William Fancy Son from band
Oh my
class.
God, Nick.
It's squids, and you want to know why? I could see it in Philip Grubauer's eyes. I could see it in his eyes last game. He is so ready to take this team down. Who was it that like fell on top of him at the end of that game? I don't know if you guys were still watching. It was late in the game. Somebody on the Avs got a little bit like of a push near the crease, but it wasn't much. And he just totally was like, "Oh, I kind of got pushed. I'm just gonna like lay on top
Ball
of
on the goalie.
Yeah, and Grubauer got up and got pissed. He
Good.
he took his helmet off and got up and was like giving him like the crazy eyes, like I will fuck you up. And I don't know. In that moment, I was like, Grubauer's really gonna find a way to beat his former team here, isn't he?
You know, we just talked about it with Matthew Tkachuk. Talk about a guy with winning pedigree from juniors, Philip Grubauer.
Something's off from the Avalanche too. McCarr
Yes.
getting sussy. Like
Yes.
shit's just they're frustrated. They're mad. They're not playing their game. I don't think that. I think this is huge Caps post cup vibes. They win a cup and they come in and get bounced in the first round.
Burakovsky and Grubauer and Sprong just take down. And sorry, Kraken legend. Who was it? Justin Schultz, right?
Oh my
Yes.
God. I will say he made a really stupid play the other
He
night
did.
when I was watching at like a dumb pinch. And I couldn't tell who it was. Like I couldn't see the number. And I was like, that was really stupid, whoever that was. And then I saw him like turn around. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
So both of you are going Kraken?
I'm going Squids.
I am going Squids. Mac's right. There's something off with Colorado. It's not there right
Something's
now.
not right.
I would definitely agree there's something off with Colorado. I do not think that they are going to make a run to the cup. I cannot bet against Nathan McKinnon with
And
one game.
You're
to win.
probably going to be right.
I can't do it.
It is kind of, this series did also kind of give me like Caps Flyers vibes, like the first year the Caps
Wow.
were back in the playoffs, and like the
07.
the fan base is like so excited, like holy shit. And it goes 7, and then we just lose in overtime because like Mike Knuble runs over our goalie or whatever the fuck. Like,
Yep.
I could see it being that where like the Kraken had a valiant effort and they'll remember this one forever, but like at the end of the day, they don't win it.
Honestly, like if this is that fan base's entry into the postseason to take the defending champs this deep, good for you, man.
I want the Kraken to win. I like the Kraken. I think they've been disrespected from the start, and I would be very happy if they win. But for one game with all the chips on the line, I'm not betting against Nathan McKinnon. And I will say this, the best bet of the day, whatever his shot on goal prop is, hammer the over.
Definitely.
He's gonna have like 10 shots, like no joke.
If it's over 15.5, take the over.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth mentioning Seattle has scored the first goal in every single game this series.
That's nuts.
Interesting.
Like when was the last time that happened?
I'm not sure, but if you're putting some money on this game, and I tweeted this out from EB account last night, Seattle was plus 150 to score the first goal, and they did. Vince Dunn.
Damn.
They're probably going to be like plus 180 to score the first goal in this game. If that trend continues, Colorado could be in trouble. They got to get on the board first in this game, in my opinion.
And if you're going to pick a goal scorer, how could you pick against Jordan Eberle? Like, talk about, like we talked about it with Sorelli, like guys that just score huge ass goals. Like, I mean, he's got to be up there.
Now, I will say, I feel like this game is the way I feel right now is how you guys feel about Tampa. It's like, I'm not betting against the Avs. They're at home. They've got McKinnon. You guys are like, I'm not betting against the Bolts. It's Cooper. It's Vasi. It's the Leafs. I don't know. All of this could go any which way, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
It's going to be a fun game 7. I think it's going to be, this series we were all writing off basically at the beginning of the playoffs. We were saying this is going to be the boring one. Kraken are probably done. I think we all said like, hey, glad you made it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, seriously though. But like, did you have fun playing? I don't know. I'm excited. I hope that one is low scoring.
I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but do you know how funny it would be if we got a Kraken VGK Western Conference final and the Kraken beat?
That would be so
I would be
sick.
so happy. Like
the Knights talks mad game in their inaugural season about how everyone's like, oh, you guys don't deserve it. You have to face adversity first, like whatever. And they were like, whatever, man. You're just mad because we're good right away. And the Kraken do that to them. I know I'm getting way ahead of myself. But
I would love that.
If you don't think that's Gary Bettman's wet dream at night, you're crazy.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he wants.
No, absolutely.
It's exactly what he wants.
He'd probably prefer it to be Arizona, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's next year. Yeah. When they get Bedard.
Real quick before we move on from Colorado and Seattle, do we want to touch on the Nichushkin thing? I know that's been like a little bit of a question mark. We don't really know what's going on there.
That's another reason why I'm like, something's off with Colorado this
year.
It's a
big loss for them.
There's too much weird shit going on with that team. We don't know all the details around that, but either way, it's not good. I mean...
Bednar,
nothing of what you're seeing is good. So
to me, it feels like they're trying to hide something. That's just speculation, of course. I don't want to assume anything, but I mean,
the fact that no one's saying anything,
why
is
else
a little
would
bit
you
concerning.
ship off one of your best players and just get him the hell out of there and answer absolutely no questions about it? Like, I don't know, it feels bad to me, but
I'm not really. Again, not speculating. Bednar is not saying anything, so. If you want to read up on that story, you can Google it yourself, obviously.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
This part is spelling Nichushkin.
That is all of the picks for us. They'll probably all lose somehow, even though I think I've noticed a trend. Nick and Mac all have the same fucking picks, and I do.
Do we actually? God damn it!
And then I went against the grain on all of them except the Kings. So we'll see.
was totally like buying what you were saying about Florida, and I was so ready to buy in on that, and then I was just like, I can't, because Bergeron and Pasternak are going to do something ridiculous.
They probably will. Yeah, they probably will. I mean, we'll see. But all right, let's move on to the trivia portion of the episode, and then we'll be out of here. Mac, this one is for you, and I think it's worth mentioning that this trivia segment is brought to you by Elwood's.
Yeah, shout out Elwood's. They've got all the hockey on. If you're in Milwaukee, go check that out. No more basketball, just real men sport now. And
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a fun bar. You should check it out. I'm there every so often, so say hi if you run into me. Let's get into this trivia question. I think it's a good one, and it's kind of a three-parter. It's like there's a main answer, but there's bonus points for 2 additional answers that are involved here as well. Okay, so
Rick,
can we set some
points.
rules?
Yes, yeah. I will let you go first this time.
Oh, I was gonna say you can go first because
Okay.
you won, but I want to make sure this is handled
damn, this is
cordially.
I will
Cordially.
take the ADD brain out of it. I promise.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's everybody calm down here. All right.
I gotta win one.
What goalie took center stage on April 29th, 2015 by making 31 saves? I'm not going to tell you what team he played for. It'd be too easy. He made 31 saves as his team defeated the Detroit Red Wings 2-0 in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference first round. Okay, that's the first question. What goalie made 31 saves to defeat the Red Wings 2-0 in Game 7 of the first round? And then the 2 bonus questions are who scored the 2 goals for this team? Because once you figure out the goalie, you'll know what team it is. And then I want to know who scored the 2 goals. It's 2 defensemen that scored the 2 goals for this team to win 2-0 against the Red Wings in 2015. Does everything make sense there?
Yes.
So the Red Wings were in the East in 2015.
Correct.
And I believe that was their first year.
It might have been the first year in the East.
All right, Nick goes first.
So it's the Boston Bruins and Tuukka Rask.
Wrong.
What?
Harry.
Okay, hang on. 2015. This is the first round. The Red Wings are in the Eastern Conference, and they lost to
in Game 7.
They lost.
They got shut out. Yeah, 2-0 was the final score of Game 7. Wings get eliminated first round, 2015.
Eastern Conference. Okay.
I think the series I'm thinking about, they went 5.
Hang on, let my brain do its thing. So I have to name the goalie that shut them out.
Yes.
Okay.
And he made 31 saves.
Who the fuck did? I'm having a hard time thinking about the Red Wings in
This
the
is
East
such a
in the playoffs.
fun one. I love
this. Is going to be like
all 3 names
I'm picking
here
up what you're putting.
Okay.
I'm picking up what you're putting down in like once we get the goalie, we're going to know the team.
So I know it's not the Penguins because they lost to a team I'm not going to name to make this easier for Nick. So I know 2 teams that it can't be. So who? All right. And you guessed the Bruins. So that's 3 teams it can't be. So I've got to somehow. I'm going to say it was. The problem is, I think I have the team in mind, but I can't name the goalie. And Max saying if we knew the goalie, then it'd be too easy. So it's not that.
You can tell me. Well, no, I mean, you could tell me the team that you think it is. I'll tell you if you're right about that. But if you say the team and I say you're right, then I think you should probably figure it out pretty quickly.
Which is making me think that this
maybe
answer's
not though. Actually,
it's making me think my answer's not right. But I'm gonna guess the New York Islanders.
wrong.
Okay.
Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens.
Wrong.
Fuck.
Wrong.
It's not the New York Rangers and Henrik Lundqvist.
Wrong.
Okay, that's what I thought because they okay.
Andre Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Right team, wrong tender.
Oh.
Who the fuck was the goaltender that year?
I know this now.
They lost
God, you gotta
damn it.
know this. Don't be stupid here.
Wait,
come on.
The Bolts lost to the Hawks that year in the finals. 2015. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So who was in net for
Actually, yeah, you are right. It even says
Yeah.
that they went on to win the Eastern Conference.
who the fuck was the goalie that year? Why is
Oh
this
my God,
escaping
I
my
know
brain?
this.
All right, shut up.
Come on, you know.
Give me a
this.
second. Stop putting pressure on me.
You know this. I know you know this. You got this. Dig deep.
If you want to tell me the two defensemen that scored first, I don't care what order you go here.
Let's just put it this way. This team reached new heights when it made this cup final appearance.
Oh,
If
you
Nick-
figured it out, Nick? Yeah, he knows it.
Well, if Nick knows it, then let him go because I don't know.
No. You got this. You got
You
this.
got you both know who this
absolutely
goalie
know
is.
this,
Come
yeah.
on.
The goaltender.
Think
of the
about
two-
what I just said. You've reached new heights.
Yes, that's a good hint.
I'm guessing the goalie on the Lightning, and he reached new heights.
Heights.
Tall.
He's very tall. Big boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And what Mac just said is another hint too.
Yeah. Big boy.
I'm drawing a complete blank.
Oh my God. Nick, tell him.
Ben Bishop.
Yep.
Wow. Fuck me, dude.
I
cannot
was
win
between-
trivia.
Like Ben Bishop or Dwayne Roloson.
I was gonna
my
say
God.
Rolo. My guess
Yeah,
was gonna be
Rolo
Roloson.
made an appearance in like
But because
13 or 14 or
I
something.
thought I
like
was going to
that.
be stupid guessing that. That was my
No,
guess.
not at all.
Okay, so that's the main question. The
Yep.
bonus question.
So now it was a 2-0 game that Ben Bishop won for them against the Wings.
Rick Bowness question. Sorry.
They had two goal scorers and both were defensemen, and they're both like names you totally know, but it's not.
All right,
It's a little bit of a deep cut for both.
Nick,
of
do you know this one too? For
No,
fuck's sake?
not at
Okay.
all. This
All
is
right.
going to be like old school Lightning defenseman.
All right, so I'm going to have a guess here.
All right,
Braden Coburn.
that's one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, nicely done.
Is
That's
the other
the
one?
easier one. That's
Is
the
the
easier
other
one.
one Anton Strawman?
Yes, it is.
Let's go.
Nice job.
Oh,
Nice job.
Shit.
Bishop, Coburn, Strawman. Nice
Did
job.
not
boys.
even cheat on that, but I was thinking of old Lightning defense. I was like, Braden Coburn comes to mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good job. That was a
And then
fun
they-
one.
And then they lost to the Hawks in the finals.
In
Yep.
5.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means Stamkos has been to 4 cup finals in his career.
Yeah. So to read the whole thing off, Ben Bishop took center stage on April 29, 2015 by making 31 saves in the Tampa Bay Lightning's 2-0 win over the Detroit Red Wings in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference first round. Braden Coburn and Anton Strawman, a pair of defensemen, scored as the Lightning marched towards their second Eastern Conference title in franchise history.
How was that the first two defensemen that you and I think of?
That is pretty crazy.
Coburn
That
and
is
Anton
crazy.
That is
Strawman.
Because
kinda
our,
nuts.
our brains are fucked up.
Not
I will say,
Hedman, not like it
Well, but
couldn't have
because
been
I
the-
said it's
yeah.
a deep cut, so you knew it wasn't going to be Hedman or some shit.
it infuriated. I guessed the Lundqvist and the Rangers when I knew the Penguins lost to them that year because I was just froze up. I was like, well, no.
I thought about that too because Mac was like, and that's the reason I guess Price and the Habs is because he was like, as soon as you get the goalie, you're gonna know the team.
Well, God, I'm mad I didn't know Ben Bishop. On the tip of my tongue, I was gonna say Rollis, and I was like, I'm gonna sound stupid.
I knew that if you got the team first, you would think Vasi, but I figured as soon as I said it wasn't Vasi, you'd know.
Good question. I should know that. I probably would know that, but I was feeling the absolute
I wouldn't have
heat.
guessed Coburn, so
I
that's
am
off to you.
I am a mental midget during this shit. I got people like saying you got to win a round, and now it's in my head.
That counts. I mean, you got Coburn.
Yeah, you got the main.
That was a
one out
team
there.
effort. That was a team
Yeah,
effort.
we tag team that thing.
Always. Okay. That wraps up the trivia portion of the episode. If you guys don't have any final notes, we will wrap up here. We've got the predictions done. Anything else you guys want to say?
Go Kings, go.
I'll do one last question. Fire from the hip, gut instinct. Give me a goal scorer in Toronto Tampa Game 6 tonight.
Matthew Nyes.
Ooh.
Ugly one too. Like a definite like Mac Vogel goal, like cleaning
Grease
up the
monkey
trash.
shit.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go with Nick Paul, like we said before.
That's a good one.
Matthew Nyes, Nick Paul. I got Morgan Riley. Okay.
Have you guys seen that meme where it's like a classic like 2-button video game controller and it just says like Nick Paul and like button A is like skate forward and button B is fall down and score goal?
It's actually pretty funny.
Priceless.
All All righty. Good luck, Leafs Nation. I'm rooting for you. These two aren't because they like to see you implode, but it
I'm
should be
rooting
a
for
good
chaos.
one.
Just chaos.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I'm rooting for you, Leafs Nation. So let's go Kings. Go Kings. Go Morgan. And Mac's sister have a great
Yes.
time at the game tonight in LA. We will see you guys, I don't know, in a couple days. Enjoy the weekend of hockey, and without further ado,
Class dismissed.